Good afternoon, folks. George here. Welcome back to my channel. In our previous episode, I had discussed about the basic things required for a home theater system, and that basically is a device which can be either a Blu-ray player, okay, or a DVD player, or a gaming console, or a streaming device, and second being a sound bar or an amplifier system, of course with a lot of cables to connect this source to the amplifiers, and the third being a display which can either be a TV or a projector, and the fourth being the speakers, right? So after a very long period of time, I thought of cleaning my room. So basically that's how I ended up thinking that why not do a video regarding speakers today. Now, speakers by itself is a very large topic which cannot be covered in a single day. Okay, there are different types of speakers in different sizes and shapes. Okay, you have satellite speakers, you have bookshelves, you have tower speakers, you have in-wall speakers, you have in-ceiling speakers, you name it. It comes in different brands and different sizes and with different price tag. So basically, what is the function of a speaker? The function of a speaker is to reproduce sound. Okay, so basically sound is being converted into electrical energy or electrical signals. Okay, and these signals are being fed to the amplifier, which amplifies these signals and send those signals to the speakers. And the basic duty of the speaker is to receive these electrical signals and convert them into sound. Okay, now basically, as I said earlier, there are different brands with different price ranges, and I am the sort of guy who doesn't believe that since you're paying more you get more out of it. No, the basic thing is, even with a very basic setup of speakers, you can attain a very good output or a beautiful sound performance. But there are many external factors which decide the outcome. Basically the size of the room, and whether this room needs soundproofing, okay, to cut down the reverb or echo. Okay, so those are the basic issues, and then it entirely depends upon the ability of the speakers to reproduce different types of frequencies. Basically, our human ear is perceptive to sound frequencies ranging from 20 hertz to 20,000 or 22,000 kilohertz. Okay, now the range below 20 is not perceptible to the human ear. It can only be felt. Now you might have noticed when you go to the theaters, you watch a movie, and all of a sudden you feel that big bang or that impact on your chest. Okay, so those type of frequencies are very low, or it is below 20 hertz, that can only be felt. Okay, now the sound that ranges from 0 to 150 hertz is called low frequency. So generally this is being sent to a particular speaker known as the subwoofer, okay, which does the job of reproducing these type of frequencies. Anything above that can either be classified as mid-range or high range. Okay, so basically that depends on the type of speakers. There are speakers which have only high range, which are totally capable of reproducing the entire spectrum of sound, and there are speakers that have been divided, or pretty much two-way speakers, or they're all called two-way speakers and three-way speakers also. Okay, basically two-way speakers means they have a small sized speaker which can reproduce almost the mid-range of above 150 to the 23,000 kilohertz range, and a tweeter which can produce the highest range. Okay, so basically the highest range can consist of shattering of a glass and those minute sounds which you hear in music. Okay, music playback. Okay, and there are three-way speakers. Three-way speakers basically means a speaker which has a woofer, okay, which does the low end of the frequency, and what do you call it, sub bass which does the middle part of the frequency, and a tweeter. Okay. Now, basically, today I'm going to deal with the speakers that I have been using for the past 4 to 5 years. They are basic speakers, okay, which is the Denon 1312. The model number is 1312, okay, which seems to blend in very well with my home theater system, which is the Denon 1200, okay. Now, basically, the five speakers that come within this package of the 1312 are of the same make, okay, and plus a subwoofer. Now I have speakers of another brand called Polk, which acts as a height speakers or the Atmos speakers. Now basically the rule of thumb is not to go with two different brands, because it sort of creates a different tonal imbalance, okay. So basically each speaker is being made out of a particular material, so each material has its own way of reproducing sound, okay. In other words, it's very differentiating. You can easily feel the difference. So in my case, I always find the Polk speakers to be more clear and audible, okay. Now, it's not to say that the Denon speakers are bad in any way, but then that's what happens when you mix match between 2 or 3 brands, okay. So today I'm going to be talking about the speakers, okay. So this is the speakers of the Denon, okay. Now this has an 8 centimeter drive, which is a full range drive, okay. And it's not that very heavy. It's almost weighs around 800 grams, and its frequency range is about from 150 to 222,000 kilohertz. That means any frequency below 150 will not be able to play in this particular speakers, okay. And this is the center channel. Now in any given audio setup, the center channel plays a very important role, okay, because some movies are basically based on dialogues. So if the dialogues are not clear, basically you lose out on the essence of the movie. So this center channel also has a single drive, basically an 8 centimeter one, which is a full range, and each of these channels can produce up to 120 watts of peak output, okay. And so basically that is the 5 channel layout. Now here what I have is the subwoofer, okay, which comes along with the package, okay. As you can see, the logo Denon, okay. Now this is a basic model. I mean, there is no many fancy things in this, okay. So basically what you see here is the volume control. Volume knob is on off button and a line out, okay. And basically other subwoofers have phase control, okay, and they have many other adjustments as well to adjust the frequency, okay. So let me just flip this around. Now this is a powered subwoofer. What that means is there is an amplifier within this sub, okay. Now this is a down firing sub, so it has an 8 inches of drive, as you can see, okay. So this is the basic package, and it can produce around 100 watts of power, okay. Now the next speaker which I want to introduce to you is the Polk, which I have been using. This is the Polk speakers, okay. It's a beautiful speaker. It has some heft to it. It weighs around 4.5 kilos, and it has a removable mesh grill. There you go, okay. Now this has a 1-inch tweeter which produces the high frequency, and it has a 4.5-inch drive which is made out of polypropylene, okay. and the frequency range is from 80 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz, and its decibel range is 89 dB. Now, at the rear of the speaker, you have the binding post where you connect your speaker cables, negative and positive, and this can be also used with the banana plugs. Okay, so this gives an output of 100 watts per channel, which, as I said earlier, is very powerful enough. So basically that is my setup. Okay, now there are different types of speakers, as I have said earlier. You have tower speakers, which can be a two-way or a three-way speakers. Now the basic use of tower speakers, as I said earlier, can be which has a longer throw ratio. Okay, so which means if it's a longer room, you're going to need a 8-inch or a 10-inch drive to throw, which can create an impact so that the sound reaches the far ends of the room. Okay, and basically a tower speaker can also reproduce to a certain extent the bass frequencies too, so you're getting that additional bass. Now in my particular case, as far as Denon is concerned, it has an option where you can produce bass using the speakers, all the speakers. So I have been using that, and it gives an additional tactile response to basically explosions and things like that. Okay, now speaker layout is another important factor, as recommended by most of the industries, Dolby being in the forefront. So basically the front speakers are to be in ear level. No, I know you would ask me whether your speakers are in ear level. It is not, but given the constraints of space, this is the best I could come up with. So basically, when I do build a home theater, a dedicated home theater, I will keep that in mind. So basically the front left, the front right speakers should be towed into a listening position, preferably at a 30-degree angle, and the center speaker should be at your ear level, and the rear left and right should be placed between 110 to 120 degrees from your seating position, and the Atmos speakers or the height speakers should be 40 degrees front and behind the main listening position. This is the basic theory or the rule of thumb by which speakers have to be aligned. And it is not enough alone that you go about with the best speaker. There is something called as every amplifier or every company has its own calibration tool. Basically Denon and Marantz has the Odyssey X32, I believe, the latest version, yes, X32. Then Yamaha has its own, just like Odyssey, it has Wipeout. Then there are many other brands like Anthem, for example, which has its own proprietary room calibration tool known as the ARC or Anthem Room Correction. Then you have many other brands which use Direct Live, I believe. So basically, and I'm being told that Direct Live is one of the best calibration tools available in the market. And after calibration, you need to do some tweaking from your ends to get it aligned. Basically what Odyssey does is it sends out this high pitched sound. You're given a calibration mic along with the system. Okay, you plug it into a receiver, and basically it runs